On August 17th, 2007, 10.8 million viewers were introduced to one important fact. There are 104 days of summer vacation. This iconic line from Phineas and Ferb's theme song was originally conceived due to Disney Channel shows generally lasting for about 2 seasons with 26 episodes each. Animated episodes are split into 2 standard 11-minute segments, giving a total of 104 estimated episodes. However, because of the massive success of the show, Phineas and Ferb ended up with 4 seasons and a total of 134 episodes, accumulating to 226 individual Phineas and Ferb segments and 2 TV movies, with 2 seasons having been announced and coming this summer. This gives a 124-story gap between the number of days we have and the total segments existing. Many people have tried to account for this difference, from having the boys build multiple inventions in one day, to spreading out the series into multiple summers. This, however, feels disingenuous to the episodic nature of the show, and the indisputable fact, there are only 104 days. So, how do we know that the show only takes place over one summer of 104 days? Well, if we slide over to Phineas and Ferb's sister show, Milo Murphy's Law, it gives us our answer. In episode 106B, Murphy's Law, Milo, Zach, and Melissa go to Lard World, a lard-based amusement park. There, Melissa reveals that she has a fear of roller coaster, which started on the first day of summer.
It was the first day of summer. Everything seemed normal. I just finished assembling a cool science project in my backyard, when suddenly... Done!
This cements roller coaster as the first day of summer, and since later episodes of Milo Murphy's Law continue the doof turning good arc that started in the last day of summer, we have a definitive start and end to when Phineas and Ferb episodes take place. As to why the series couldn't take place during summers before the final roller coaster to last day of summer, I don't have a very strong answer. The major interaction that we see in Roller Coaster that could hint at previous summer inventions makes it seem like if any shenanigans did occur, they are much smaller than building a roller coaster.
I seem to recall you telling me that the boys were training monkeys to juggle bicycles, and when I came home, there was a stunning lack of monkeys.
I still don't know how they clean that up so fast.
So what?
Also, I'm much more interested in seeing what we can do with a single summer, and if anyone wants to take a crack at what episodes come before the summer, feel free. Now the question is, how am I going to figure out what episodes take place on each day? In order to do this, I need to set some ground rules. Rule number 1, only 1 episode per day unless otherwise stated. One of the most memorable lines in Phineas and Ferb history is, "I know what we're gonna do today."
Why, if I built a roller coaster, I would... That's it! I know what we're gonna do today! 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 I know what we're gonna do from this point in the day on! Are you not saying what I'm thinking? Hey, where's Perry?
Now, unless there are references to other episodes that specifically state that it happens later in the same day or concurrently with another episode, I am limiting each day to 1 episode. This is for simplicity's sake, a good challenge for actual days, and also overall plot-wise. It wouldn't make sense for Linda to go out, have the boys create an invention, Perry go to Deuce, destroy the Inator, return along with Linda, find the invention the boys created to be gone, only to then do the exact same thing again on the exact same day. Rule number 2, I am only counting episodes that have a confirmed link with other episodes. With Phineas and Ferb's episodic nature, there's a mixture of episodes that don't reference each other and a strange number of them that do. I'll be taking these episodes that interact through verbal, visual, or geographic means and just organizing them to fill them out in the calendar. There are a couple guidelines that I'll run through just to clarify whether an episode has a justifiable link to the summer. Number 1, former inventions. If visual or verbal references to another invention or Inator are in an episode, those 2 episodes belong in the same timeline. 2. Reoccurring character. If a character is in a canon episode, their introductory episode must be included into the timeline as well. Characters include Vanessa, Norm, and Irving. 3. Recurring locations. If 2 episodes take place in the same area, such as England or Camp Phineas, they will be placed at the same time. 4. Callbacks. Similar to 1, if someone calls back to a specific joke, those episodes are on the same timeline. This one is a little tricky to what counts as a canon callback or an audience callback. For example, The Farmer and His Wife, a recurring gag throughout all 4 seasons, don't always explicitly call back to their last time on screen, so the times they do will count as canon, while others will depend on other factors. 5. Musical montages. These will not always be counted as canon. Sometimes visuals are shown while music is playing, and I won't always count those as canon, with the argument that it is an audience aid rather than an actual character's thoughts. 6. Dates. If there is a date spoken on a calendar and the episode is in the timeline, that date must be respected. With all that sorted and over 800 words into this, let's begin with Season 1. Season 1 is a relatively simple start to the timeline. Important dates to remember is that the first day of summer is June 3rd, Swinter takes place in July, and Candace's birthday is on July 11th. The first connection is from episode 106B, Tree to Get Ready, in which Doofenshmirtz uses the Poopinator to cause pigeons to poop on Roger the non-mayor while he receives the key to the city. While explaining this, Doof reintroduces Perry to Vanessa.
You two have met, right? Vanessa, Perry the Platypus, Vanessa.
This is a reference to 103A, The Magnificent Few, Vanessa's first episode. While not connecting to the summer yet, this is the first step to the interlocking webs we will use to account for all the days. Episode 107, It's About Time, references multiple previous episodes through a montage during the song When We Didn't Get Along. I'll keep these in mind when ordering with more subsequent episodes, but remember guideline number 5, we might view them as audience aids and not Perry's thoughts. Luckily, a stronger connection between episodes comes from the next episode, Jerk de Soleil. During her song Evil Boys, Candace references Roller Coaster, Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Terror, The Magnificent Few, It's About Time, and Tree to Get Ready. Episode 109, One Little Scare, is Little Susie's intro, and episode 110A, A Hard Day's Night, takes place in England, which will return later. Episode 110B, I Brobot, has Doof singing Gitchy Gitchy Goo and stating it's the middle of July, and 111A, Mom's Birthday, includes a montage of Phineas and Ferb during previous episode hijinks.
We can't forget Mom's birthday. 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 Isn't there something I'm supposed to remember?
A few other episodes reference each other until we get to episode 116, Phineas and Ferb Get Busted. This is a dream Candace has inside of Perry's dream, which basically nullifies the whole thing. Traffic Cam Caper shows video evidence of Roller Coaster, Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Terror, and Crack That Whip, while being a canon introduction of Norm, bringing in Grease Lightning. Bolorama Drama has this billboard. Oil on Candace has this amalgamation of Doof's failed innators. Both Unfair Science Fair and Got Game have references to Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Terror, and Hail Doofania has a callback to Gitchy Gitchy Goo and appearance of Norm. With all the major episodes covered, let's go to the timeline. After the 46 segments in Season 1, this is our timeline. We have 23 segments in 3 separate sections, such as the start of summer, post-hottest day / beginning of July, and Candace's birthday aftermath. Additionally, we have 3 separate linkages that don't connect back to the larger summer. We'll keep an eye on these, but I will put Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together and Voyage to the Bottom of Buford onto the timeline, because first, Love Handle will definitely be in the canon timeline, and second, it has a canonical date of June 15th. Other Fraction timelines include Visiting Camp Phineas and The Bettys Just Existing. With a little over half the episodes in this season counting as canon, we're about a quarter of the summer filmed, with a lot of room for seasons 2, 3, and 4. Now, without further ado, Season 2. Season 2 starts off strong in 203A, Attack of the 50-Foot Sister, where Baljeet claims,
Phineas and Ferb, days ago you helped me build a portal to Mars. Now I beg you to help me win the biggest watermelon contest at the festival. Help me, Phineas and Ferb. You're my only hope.
Additionally, this episode is stated to take place in the middle of summer, so we'll attempt to place it as close as we can. 204, Elementary, My Dear Stacy, takes place again in England, which we'll return to, and 206A, Perry Lays an Egg, occurs after Toy to the World. Otherwise, Candace has an entirely separate platypus costume, which is unlikely because everyone knows that Candace's persona is Ducky Momo. Episode 207, The Chronicles of Meep, introduces Out to Launch into canon, as well as referencing Ferb and Vanessa's relationship and Doof's long-known backstory, with special attention to the statement,
You remember that backstory.
Also in this episode, the band The Bettys are mentioned, however offhand and not as that band I performed with, so the Bettys do exist, but their interactions with Candace does not. Otherwise, this introduces Meep, so if we see him again, we'll take that into account. Quickfire round, go! The Plane to Plane references Dee Dee from Swinter and Candace's journey through time and to Mars. The Shrinkinator reappears in Let's Take a Quiz. Marty the Rabbit Boy and his musical blender plays Gitchy Gitchy Goo in Oh There You Are, Perry. And Swiss Family Phineas references Doof's big laundry scheme and has this statement.
Or you could have made a gigantic slingshot and shot us back to the mainland.
Hey!
Now we've arrived to a problematic episode. Phineas and Ferb's Quantum Boogaloo. In this episode, Phineas and Ferb go into the future just to grab a tool that they need for their daily invention. During this journey, an adult Candace goes back in time and busts Phineas and Ferb on the first day of summer during Roller Coaster. She goes back to the future only to realize she changed it for the worst, causing her to go back in time to stop herself. This nullifies the future Candace came from and also causes her to pop out of existence. They eventually are able to send Candace back with everything right in the world. During the credits sequence of this episode, it is revealed that Isabella got the tool they needed and traveled back in time to give it to Phineas before they ever time traveled, nullifying the entire episode. All this to say, I spent 146 words to say this episode, while canon, does not matter. 213A Hide and Seek introduces Irving and references Roller Coaster, Grease Lightning, and reuses the Shrinking Ray from Journey to the Center of Candace. 214B, The Necessary Roughness, is a prequel to Unfair Science Fair. 2 previous Senators reappear in Spa Day, and Bubble Boys and Isabel in the Temple of Sap take place on the same day and reference Candace's expert parallel parking. Interesting note, in Finding Mary McGuffin, Doof recalls his time as a lawn gnome, however he never states an "as you know." Since Doof's backstory is part of his life and not a direct reference to a previous episode, we will not be counting this episode in the timeline for now. This is unlike in Suddenly Susie, where the farmer and his wife directly reference the mini golf course in Put That Putter Away. Hip Hip Parade takes place on July 15th and includes a love handle performance. Candace's Big Day has Candace list off things the boys should not do.
No trampolines, no robots, no roller coasters, no fireworks spectaculars, no native dancers, no running of the wildebeest, no giant robot groomsmen, no mechanized rice catapults, no rocket to the moon, no bringing the moon down to Earth, just a regular, good old-fashioned wedding stuff like you might find at a regular, everyday, perfect wedding.
And both it and Invasion of the Ferb Snatchers reference a character seen previously in the summer, being Captain Weber, and if he doesn't have the title of captain, he sure deserves it, Meek. 228A, Not Phineas and Ferb, introduces us to Irving's brother Albert as Buford and Baljeet pretend to be Phineas and Ferb. Before this deception, Irving showcases his 3D models of inventions during the summer, including time and bubble machines. At the end, while she's trying to find it, Candace thinks the invention is invisible, a reference to Don't Even Blink. Meanwhile, in the B-plot, Doof is using the third Trinkinator he has invented to microscale popular buildings to put it in his train set. I wouldn't mention this besides to show off Doof's impressive penmanship.
Okay, let's see. The Roman Colosseum. No man can see 'em because it's so tiny.
Hold up, 1 second. Excuse me? Viewers, I'd like to pull your attention back to A Hard Day's Night and Elementary My Dear Stacy. Both of these episodes take place in England, and for simplicity's sake, I'm going to place them as around the same time. In the second episode, Doof's evil scheme is to launch Big Ben to the tri-state area so he doesn't have to look at his tiny watch. In order to do that, he places a rocket underneath it, the exact same rocket that we see when it is shrunken down in Not Phineas and Ferb. We can now say that the boys do take a trip to England, but I'll wait until the end of the season to decide exactly where. Finally, we have She's the Mayor, Lemonade Stand, and We Call It Maze, which reference Unfair Science Fair Redux, Voyage to the Bottom of Buford, and Fireside Girl Jamboree respectively. And with all that, we're mostly done with Season 2. At the end of the season is the 2-episode-long Summer Belongs to You, which takes place on June 21st, the summer solstice. Before we get there, I wanted to admire the timeline so far and evaluate some of the questionably canonical episodes. Wizard of Odd is a simple Wizard of Oz parody where Candace and Perry travel through the land of Odd, referencing a bunch of other episodes that have happened and wake up realizing it was a dream all along. The main issues with this episode is 1 is a dream sequence and would feel kind of lame to have an entire day be filled out with that spot, and 2, Candace sees Agent P, and even if this is a dream, it's still blowing his cover, therefore we won't be counting it. Similarly, Roller Coaster the Musical won't be counted because both adult Candaces appear in the background, which cannot happen due to the entire plot of Quantum Boogaloo. 211, Phineas and Ferb's musical Cliptastic Countdown takes place outside of the canon and is also a clip show, and 222, Phineas and Ferb Christmas Vacation takes place during Christmas, outside of the summer, so neither will be counted. We get a double whammy in Phineas and Ferb Hawaiian Vacation and Brain Drain. In the hotel where Phineas and Ferb are staying, they use growth elixir from Attack of the 50-Foot Sister on aqua primates, which could not work because the entire universe has been affected by the elixir and, according to the episode, can only be used once. This renders the episode defunct and brain drained by proxy through Doof's attempt to reuse the Inator from that episode. Finally, we get to an important piece of Phineas and Ferb media, the Disney Channel original movie, Phineas and Ferb, Across the Second Dimension. It is with a heavy heart to have to classify this awesome movie as non-canonical to the summer. Listen, I hate it as much as you guys, but when we have innators and inventions that cannot fundamentally exist on this timeline, I cannot in good conscience count this film. Maybe in another timeline where Milo Murphy never ran into Professor Time and altered the future of the universe, it happened the next summer. But for now, let's take a moment of silence for our fallen comrade. Do y'all like this timeline? Well, too bad. Right now we have one thing that matters, the summer solstice on June 21st. That gives us 18 days to put whatever these episodes throw at us into, minus the 14th, which is Linda and Lawrence's anniversary. We start with a jump roping robot the day before, which I'm going to chalk up to just being another thing they do the day before for fun. I know I said one episode per day, but it still technically is because this is focusing on the solstice. Yeah, sure, let's just go with it. Moving on to proper episode references, we begin with Phineas listing off previous inventions.
Okay, so we built a roller coaster, we traveled through time twice, found Atlantis, blah, 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 blah. See? We hardly done anything.
This then leads to the reveal of the Sunbeater 3000 and the idea to travel the world before the sun sets in Danville. Buford then references previous episode endeavors,
Except for that time machine thing and the roller coaster. But other than that, nothing. Oh, and the time you played that song when the platypus came back?
and Clay Aiken and Chaka Kong sing a song. During their time in Tokyo, Vanessa falls into the jet where she knows Ferb's name, an allusion to Vanessa's roughness. She joins the group as they crash into the Himalayas, running into Clint Balloon, the magical old-timey bathing suit, and then bounce their way to Paris. In Paris, we see 3 out of the 4 pairings have an anti-romantic subplot before they join back together at the Sunbeater 3000. There, Phineas, being the overly optimistic character he is, supports Candace and reminds her all the amazing things she's done this summer.
You're Candace Flynn, monster truck driver, charioteer, queen of Mars.
Well, I am Candace Flynn.
That's the spirit.
You're right. I'm Candace Flynn, lifeguard.
That's right, Candace.
Time traveler.
Don't break the engine.
I am Candace Flynn, coup de crayon.
Candace?
Immediately after, we get an affirmation of the relationship between Jeremy and Candace.
I would hope my girlfriend would have a little trust in me.
After a commercial break, the world travelers are stranded on a deserted island, leading Phineas to kinda crack.
We can't. I can't believe there's nothing we can do to get off of this.
To which Isabella hypes him back up, referencing his achievements such as building a roller coaster, treehouse robots, and traveling through time twice. This brings Phineas out of his stump, and they create a giant paper airplane, launching with a rubber band, which is an idea that he originally got from Candace in Swiss Family Phineas.
Or you could have made a gigantic slingshot and shot us back to the mainland.
Hey,
They arrive in Danville with only 58 seconds till sundown. Buford gives them their bikes back, leading to what I believe is the most popular clip of the show.
get on the trike!
The episode ends with them arriving just in time, leading to a musical finale, which includes a montage of previous episode clips, which we will not count towards the total, taking it as a viewer aid. Now, taking all of those episodes and the episodes referenced in those episodes, we have a total of 18 days? Wait, really? I was almost confident we were gonna mess this up. Anyway, with the first 19 days of summer cemented down and 2 more with known dates, adding in these 2 episodes because I forgot to mention them earlier, and our Little Susie intro for Crack That Whip, our calendar at the end of Season 2 looks like this. With 58 days filled and 46 to go, let's see how Season 3 treats us. I'm going to switch things up for this one. Season 3 has 61 segments total. If all of these are canon, then this summer cannot exist. So let's take out the definitive non-canonical segments. 4 segments, Tri-Stone Area, Doof Dynasty, Excalibur, and Phineas and Ferb and the Temple of What You Doin' are all stories set outside both the summer and the Tri-State area. And 314A, That's the Spirit, takes place on Halloween. As for questionable episodes, we have Phineas's Birthday Cliporama, a clip show that has physical media evidence of both 116 and 234, 2 episodes we are considering defunct and non-consensual. Additionally, we have This Is Your Backstory, another clip show episode that ends with the universe being sucked into a quantum vortex. Due to my disdain for clip show episodes and other issues listed above, both of these will not be counted towards the summer. Now, to the linking episodes. 301A, Run Candace Run, references Candace knowing Hilda from Crack That Whip. 302B references the molecular separator and split personality. Moon Farm and Giants call back to Candace's travel to Mars and subsequent ruling of it. 331A, When Worlds Collides, take place the same day as Giants, and Baljeet jokes about Buford wanting to fly like little woodland pixies, referencing his statement in Bubble Boys in Meatloaf Surprise. In Bad Hair Day, Doof reveals his very, very bad inator, which is an amalgamation of other inators. The only 2 that you can really make out are the Gravity Machine and the Staininator. The boys give away the My Fair Gully Football X7 Stadium to the Nostrils, the same way they gave the Monster Truck Rally Stadium. Candace brings up the time Phineas and Ferb built a shrinking submarine while Norm is wanting to be a real boy. And Phineas and Ferb inadvertently protect the entire universe when referencing their world trip and meet in Escape from Phineas Tower. In What a Croc, Irving has turned to scrapbook digital with the Uppafoods, and Candace recalls the time she fought a crocodile in Fireside Girl Jamboree. Buford Confidential gives us backstory to Buford's French fluency. In The Dunkleberry Imperative, Candace complains about some of the boys' inventions.
Roller coasters, building to the moon, stampeding cows, stuff like that just disappears.
Mama Tractor references Doof's Bum-Buminator. And in Cranius Maximus, Doof sings Gitchy Gitchy Goo for like the 3rd time. Additionally, the past 3 episodes reference the tallest building with either verbal mentions or visual gags, which makes you wonder, where's that thing land when the dark side is facing the earth? Is it considered like the tallest building only for like the time it touches the ground? Does it and the Burj Khalifa have like a rivalry every month? These are a few of the questions I'd love show creators Dan Povenmire and Jeff Swampy Marsh to answer. No time now, however, because we are now at the sequel showcase. To finish us off with Season 3, we get 3 episodes that are sequels to previous episodes. Starting off with 319B, Minor Monogram is a winter sequel where the boys create Fall, while the B plot introduces the character of Monty Monogram. Following that, we have episode 327, The Chronicles of Meep, episode 39, Meepless in Seattle, a sequel to the 2007, The Chronicles of Meep, episode 38, More Than Meets the Eye. Disney Plus, please fix this opening crawl for this episode. It's supposed to look like Star Wars, but instead it's just like regular text up there, and it doesn't get the visual gag right, and it just hurts that it's there, but it's not there, and it doesn't look good, to be frank and honest. Finally, rounding us out with 329A, Sipping with the Enemy is a sequel to Minor Monogram. Hopping back to our timeline, we can add the 16 segments into the next 15 days of this timeline, and put the 2 new separate timelines to the side, giving us a total of 79 days and 4 separate timelines. Heading into the final season, we have 48 segments and 25 days of summer vacation left. Just like Season 3, we're going to take away the segments that are definitely not part of the summer first, whittling down the 48 segments into a more manageable number. For Your Ice Only, Happy New Year, Steampunks, Jerusalem Doof 101, The Alka-Files, and Act Your Age all take place outside of the summer. Terrifying Tri-State Trilogy of Terror is a Goosebumps-style collection of stories. Tales from the Resistance and Lost in Danville take place in alternate dimensions. And Phineas and Ferb Star Wars takes place a couple summers ago in a galaxy far, far away. That being said, for true Star Wars fans, it takes place right here in your Star Wars viewing. With that, we've gone from 48 segments to 36. We can additionally count out the Clint Balloon Ultimatum and Phineas and Ferb Save Summer, because Clint Balloon references Hockey Z9 and Save Summer references Clint Balloon. With the ones that cannot work eliminated, we have 2 separate timelines that don't connect to the creator's universe, but do connect to other episodes. This includes Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, which surprisingly only references The Beat, and Backyard Hodgepodge and One Good Turn, in which the boys use leftover materials from previous inventions to create something. With the former, neither have enough discernible pieces to link to a direct invention. Now, on to the canon episodes. Starting off strong with 401A Fly on the Wall, referencing Roller Coaster, The Portal to Mars, and a fourth wall joke to Across the Second Dimension, and 401B My Sweet Ride, referencing Monty and Vanessa's relationship seen in Sipping with the Enemy. 405's B-Day and B-Story take place on the same day and reference Fly on the Wall, Fireside Girl Jamboree, and officially introduces the League of Villainous Evildoers maniacally united for frightening investments and naughtiness, better known as Love Muffing, adding nerdy dancing to the official timeline. Mindshare references Meet, Where's Pinky has a spontaneous musical number diorama at City Hall, and in La Candace Cabra, Candace references episodes while perusing her jinxed wardrobe.
I was wearing this one when the boys made the giant gelatin monster. I was wearing this one when the boys split me into like 50 me's. This one is from the whole Meep thing.
In Thanks But No Thanks, Carl brings up Monty and Vanessa's date in My Sweet Ride, and Peggy, the Flynn Fletcher's neighbor, mentions several inventions she's seen the boys make.
I mean, they built that roller coaster, and that spa, and I love that platypus-themed restaurant.
Toy Story uses one word to squeeze itself into canon.
We're gonna finally recreate the Trojan War.
Cheers for Fears celebrates Jeremy's birthday with a giant scrapbook referencing Candace and Jeremy's relationship, bringing it in at the car wash. And in Face Your Fear, Jeremy makes this joke to Candace.
They actually had a couple rovers on Mars earlier this summer, but they suddenly stopped working. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
How would I, what do you mean?
All right, Your Highness.
Just our luck sees Planty the Potted Plant be relieved of duty, who got his accreditation during No More Bunny Business, which has a sequel episode, The Return of the Rogue Rabbit. Live and Let Drive sees Doof reuse pieces from his Boom Schlocka 320i, and Night of the Living Pharmacist begins with the gang reminiscing how fun it was to bounce all over the world. With everything done here, we now have 3 days left and one special 2-parter left to cover, Phineas and Ferb, Last Day of Summer. Now, Last Day of Summer is unlike Summer Belongs to You in the sense that it doesn't reference a lot of episodes during the story, but supercharges the references at the end. We start Last Day of Summer with Isabella referencing the first day of summer.
Seems like only yesterday I walked through that side gate and asked, "What you doing?" when you were building that roller coaster for the first time.
Eventually, Candace goes to Doofenshmirtz's building and the two get trapped in a time loop, reliving the last day of summer over and over while the universe slowly gets sucked into rifts in the space-time continuum. Phineas and Ferb eventually get sucked in, and after the episode break, Candace, Isabella, Buford, and Baljeet join them. When Isabella sees Phineas again, there is a montage of previous episodes, which includes It's No Picnic, That Sinking Feeling, and Happy New Year and the Clint Balloon Ultimatum. After returning and saving the universe, they sing a final song of the series where they reference a multitude of episodes, but most importantly, Get That Bigfoot Out of My Face, Phineas and Ferb Get Busted, For Your Eyes Only, Act Your Age, and Across the Second Dimension. We're going to ignore the visuals on the screens behind them because it is a lot of episodes that consider themselves non-canon to the series, and the series ends with Phineas waving to the camera and me with 7 segments for a 3-day gap. Now the question is, what to do? So, we have 7 segments and 3 days. Does that mean that the 104 official days can't work? Kinda. The biggest issue is For Your Eyes Only, which explicitly takes place during the winter vacation, but is referenced throughout the season 4 episodes and the last day of summer. That being said, I don't want these 4,511 words to go to waste. Also, I've spent like 2 years on this thing. I've made a conspiracy board for it. Here are some pictures. So I'm going to give some solutions to fix this discrepancy. Solution number 1 is that we take For Your Eyes Only, Happy New Year, the episodes where the family is in England, and whatever episodes referenced in Across the Second Dimension, and have them place the winter and days before the official start of summer. It goes against what the entire video is for, fitting the essential 104 days into one summer. So it is a solution, but only if you're willing to throw out the entire premise. Solution 2 is a bit of a stretch, but if you stick with me, I think it could make sense in the universe we are working in. So, in the last day of summer, we have 6 episodes referenced that have previously been considered non-canon. However, all of these episodes get referenced after the characters go outside the space-time continuum. With these episodes also having to take place in the far future, I submit the theory, while outside the space-time continuum, the characters are able to remember and experience the past, present, future, and times that could have been. Is this a cop-out? Kinda. But it gives an explanation that works with keeping the canon 104 days while also allowing characters to experience events that was either erased from their minds or to not have happened yet. Solution 3 is to ignore the entirety of the final song because it is a fourth wall breaking amalgamation that wasn't meant to be taken as canon. I am not choosing this solution. With all those solutions laid out, I'm going to go with option 2 because it fits my narrative the best. I am going to add Get That Bigfoot Out of My Face because it is the introduction to Camp Phineas, and it is referenced in other episodes. Plus, I want to make that a weekend trip. After all that, here's our official timeline with a special surprise for you. There is 1 day open. That's right. Even after checking with other references in Milo Murphy's Law, there is exactly 1 day not accounted for on the calendar to do with what you'd like. There are a few options I would suggest putting there, including It's No Picnic, Ladies and Gentlemen Meet Max Modem, Nerds of the Feather. You could bring in Wizard of Odd and just have that day be meaningless because it's all a dream sequence, or even the earliest episode that hasn't been featured, 105A's Raging Bully. But personally, in honor of it being referenced in Act Your Age, that final spot, for me, goes to That Sinking Feeling. Here it is, all 104 days with a minor excess of hallucinations while outside of the space-time continuum. This was a lot of time and effort, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. This has been Incredible Color. Have a good day, and Carpe Diem.